Hey guys, welcome to my newest video. Same day, same shirt. Continuing on with the top 100, this will go from 30 to 21, so we are almost there. So we'll just get started. And sorry about the epic rambling in the last video, but we all know I ramble. Number 30 was a film I don't know a lot of people were anticipating, but we were trepidatious of because it looked really weird in the trailers. Particularly when they used the epic song by Black Sabbath. But when the movie came out in May of 2008, we were blown away. And that, of course, is Iron Man, directed by John Favreau, who is a fantastic director. He's only done a couple of movies and shown how epic he can be. I wanted to see this because I love comic book movies, and I've been a fan of Robert Downey Jr. since seeing him in Chaplin back in 1992. And it was great to see him as an action hero. He was absolutely phenomenal in this. I might get crap saying that I think instead of Tropic Thunder, he should have been nominated for this. That's how good he was. He fit Tony Stark him and Tony Stark basically fit like a glove, because if any of you know about, of course, his troubles in the past, it's like the same personality. But I loved him in this I loved him in this movie. He was fantastic as Tony Stark and Iron Man. Gwyneth Paltrow, she was really good in this. I don't know if I'd classify her as a damsel in distress type, but she did have that a little bit at the end. Jeff Bridges, it was kind of neat to see him as a bad guy. And we don't get to see that too often. But yeah, this is a fantastic movie. I just loved it. So number 30, Iron Man. My list fell over. 29 is the only film in this epic film series of 23 films to make it onto my list. Again, like Iron Man, we were extremely trepidatious about this because I think a lot of people hated the choice of the actor to play this certain famous character, but when the movie came out, November of 2006, he blew us all away. That, of course, is Casino Royale, directed by Martin Campbell. This is the second time he's resurrected the James Bond series, first time being GoldenEye back in 1995. This, oh my god, Daniel Craig was fantastic as Bond. He won me over 20 minutes into the film. The story is fantastic. Eva Green was really good as the Bond girl. She doesn't really do much, but I liked her. I know EJ said he didn't care for like the poker scenes, which I loved. I didn't care if they were like an hour long. I loved it. I like the fact that this is basically it is the very first James Bond story, and it only ended up being the 23rd film. But I mean, like what I said with Star Trek 2, this is a film where I don't have to rewatch the series to watch. It is that fantastic. But yeah, I was so blown away by this. This ranks as one of my best movie-going experiences that I had. I went with my friend Scott, and we were just like screaming and everything. Particularly the ending, we both jumped up and cheered. So yeah, number 29, Casino Royale. And as I've said many times, this is my list. I pick whatever the hell I like, so deal with it. This is one of those movies where you just have to deal with it. I grew up with the cartoon, I grew up with the toys, and I loved the movie. That, of course, is 2007's Transformers, directed by Michael Bay. I've always liked Michael Bay films, so... but like I said, grew up with the toys and the cartoon. I think my favorite moment is the arrival to Earth of the Autobots, with that piece of music by Steve Jablonsky, where he should have been nominated for Best Score, just for that piece of music alone. And to see Optimus Prime, my god, like Casino Royale, this ranks as one of my best movie-going experiences ever. Particularly since it was a sneak preview showing in a packed theater with all Transformer fanatics. Like I said, that was especially when the semi pulled up to Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox and then transformed. The whole you could hear, well, except for the loudness, you could hear a pin drop in that theater. And then when he spoke, when he said, "Are you Samuel James Witwicky, the descendant of Archibald Witwicky?" was like, and then when he said, "My name is Optimus Prime," the whole theater went insane. Particularly since it is Peter Cullen voicing Optimus, because he voiced Optimus Prime in the cartoon. It was fantastic to have him back. One of the highlights of this movie was Bumblebee, who was never one of my favorite Autobots, but the fact that they changed him from a Volkswagen Beetle to a Chevrolet Camaro, I thought worked perfectly. So Bumblebee became one of the highlights of this film. And one of my favorite, I've been a fan of Shia LaBeouf, not since this movie, but since Disturbia, and I thought he was fantastic in this. I love the cast. I do like Megan Fox, so whatever. And it was great to see the guy who was in that show, Las Vegas, Josh Duhamel, I can't pronounce the last name. It was nice to see him in something, because when Vegas was canceled, so I don't know, blah blah blah. But yeah, this was a fantastic movie. I saw this 4 times in the theater. It was just great. So there we go, number 28, Transformers. Now here's where I'm gonna get shit on. Because this movie used to be higher up, and in the past couple of years, the viewings have made the rating go down, and made it go from basically 22 to 27. And that was 2008's The Dark Knight. Don't get me wrong, this is a great movie, but I think with all the absolute hype in the beginning, and then the next few viewings, I just said, well, it's not really as fantastic as everybody says. But I do agree, Heath Ledger was fantastic as the Joker. There's no doubting that. But yeah, over the couple of years this has been out, a few viewings has made my rating go down. Like, I'll still watch this, but it wasn't as fantastic and epic as everybody made it out to be. So sorry guys. Christopher Nolan, he's a fantastic director. I mean, there's no doubting that. So yeah, 27, The Dark Knight. And particularly since I just said The Dark Knight and this is next. But like I said, it's my list, so deal with it. And I went to see this because I'm a fan of the actor since 1987. And it was a comic book, a graphic novel movie. And it was new, so, I mean, it wasn't a sequel and blah blah blah. And that was 2004's Hellboy, directed by Guillermo del Toro. Ron Perlman, he was perfect. It's one of those rare... Damn, son. It's one of those rare ones where you get the casting so perfect, particularly for a comic book film. And Selma Blair, she was good. She's not exactly an actress I care for, but I thought she was great in this. Jeffrey Tambor, who's just comedic as ever. And John Hurt is fantastic. I think this is one of my favorite, I think if not the favorite Guillermo del Toro film that he's directed. Got to see this in the theater a couple of times. I loved it. I know a lot of people didn't really care for it, but I thought it was fantastic. And like I said, Ron Perlman it was great. And even though he's like 60, we all want him to do a third one because he was that fantastic. So there we go. Number 26, Hellboy. Actually, I'll just fix this really quick. There we go. So you just have to deal with the sunlight. So number 25 came out in 1986 and actually been one of the rare science fiction films to be nominated for a bunch of Oscars, including Best Actress, and that of course is Aliens, directed by James Cameron. Well, you know. It is one of the absolute best sequels ever made. It's funny because 2 of them in particular are directed by James Cameron. But yeah, it was it's a fun ride. It's fantastic, and I have to get this on Blu-ray. I just don't know if I'm going to get the actual quadrilogy or them separately. But we all know the story of Aliens. I just, you know, can't really say too much about it. So there we go, number 25, Aliens. 24 is actually came out in 2005, and it was another one I was worried about because of the absolute failure that came out in 1997, but this blew me away, and that of course is Batman Begins. Again, well, I shouldn't say again, but this is directed by Christopher Nolan, who did a fantastic job. I was more worried of how Christian Bale was going to be as Batman and Bruce Wayne, and I thought he was fantastic. I know people had problems with him changing his voice when he was Batman, but I actually like that because if you look at the other films, Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, and George Clooney never did that. And as someone who's a fan of the movies, I appreciated that Christian Bale did that. The cast is pretty good. Well, I mean, you got Michael Caine, you got Gary Oldman, you got Morgan Freeman, you got Rutger Hauer, you got Liam Neeson. I mean, when you think of it, they almost tried to do what they did with Richard Donner's Superman. Which they actually did. They got, well, though Christian Bale's a very well-known actor, they got all these big-name and lovable actors to basically be the supporting actors. But yeah, this was a fantastic movie, and I was so happy to see Batman's return. So there we go, number 24, Batman Begins. 23 came out in 2008 and ended up, it wasn't my most anticipated film, and it ended up being my absolute favorite film of 2008, and I was so shocked because I haven't had this reaction to an animated film in a very long time, and I think you already know what that is, and that, of course, is Wally. I had the chance to go see Wanted, which I wanted to see, but I wanted to see this more. I was the only, adult without a child going to see this movie. But it is so adorable. It is just fantastic. Wally is just the cutest thing ever. How crazy I went over this movie was just insane. I have toys, I have posters. I don't have a t-shirt because they're for kids. But my god, the music is fantastic by Thomas Newman. I love that song, Down to Earth by Peter Gabriel. And of course, I was like half the audience. I was thinking if they ended it how they did, I don't think I'd ever watch another Disney film again. But oh my god, it was just fantastic. So there we go, number 23, Wall-E. 22, another kind of something a lot of people were trepidatious about, because this is one of the biggest things in the film industry, and if you fuck it up, you destroy one of the greatest franchises of all time. And of course, J.J. Abrams passed the test with flying colors, and that of course is 2009's Star Trek. I was very scared, because like I said, I've been a Trekkie basically my whole life, and I was thinking, my god, what happens if he screws this up? And he didn't. The cast was absolutely spot on, with the exception of Carl Urban, and this is not a bad thing, that he imitated DeForest Kelley, because he played Bones in this. But I think a lot of us were so happy that he imitated DeForest Kelley, because you can't play the character of Bones and not have him be like DeForest Kelley played him. Chris Pine as Captain Kirk. Thank God he didn't imitate William Shatner. He made this his own, and he was great as Kirk. And Zachary Quinto was fantastic as Spock, and that was something I was worried about, because Spock is my favorite character in this whole series. And he was fantastic. And speaking of Spock, Leonard Nimoy was in this. My god, that moment made me cry when he showed up. Well, like the scene where they show the Enterprise, I was in tears, because the last time I saw that particular ship was back in 1991, like 18 years. Because the Enterprise NCC 1701 is my Enterprise. It's the one I have grown up loving and watching. And I don't know how to pronounce her name, but the actress who played Uhura, who was an aviator, she was great. Anton Yelchin as Chekhov, he was fantastic. A guy from the Harold and Kumar movies, he was great. And of course, Simon Pegg as Scotty. Talk about the best casting of all. So yeah, there we go. 22 is Star Trek. And 21 is the only film of 2010 to make my list. Also directed by Christopher Nolan, and that was Inception. This was fucking fantastic. I was so blown away. I've been kicking myself in the ass since I saw this, that I never went to see it in the theater. I've been a fan of Leonardo DiCaprio for, 21 years now, and he was fantastic. The whole cast was fantastic, because you got Ken Wannabe, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Ellen Page, Tom Hardy, and going on. 15 minutes are up. Shit. But yeah, nothing much I can say about this that hasn't been said. It's an epic film, and so deserved the Oscar nomination wins, or the the nominations and the wins it got. So there we go. 21 is Inception. So yep, I'm probably gonna do the next one. So didn't ramble too much, but I gotta go. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.